I'm certainly not the worst influence out here, Piers. You have drill artists singing about stabbing people to death in the middle of a knife crime epidemic.
I swear to God, on my mother's life, I was about to say that. How does a person like Andrew Tate get canceled for having misogynistic beliefs, but people like NBA Youngboy don't get canceled for talking about murdering people? What's good with y'all boys, man? How you doing, YouTube? How's your day going? Cause it's gonna get a lot better, no cap. You already know the intro. Today, we got Andrew Tate versus Piers Morgan. Everybody been talking about it. A lot of clips on TikTok. A lot of people been telling me I should react to it and shit like that. I just never got to it because it is a pretty long video. Let's get straight into it.
Andrew Tate's misogynistic tirades have been viewed billions of times online. He's now been effectively banned, though, from the internet. He doesn't think that's fair. Tonight, I'm going to try and work out if it is. So, Andrew, well, welcome, first of all. You've come all the way from Romania to do this interview.
Evil ass nigga.
What do you hope to achieve from this interview? Why are you here?
It'd be interesting to have a conversation with you. You've certainly been the subject of your own divided opinions in the world. There's a lot of people who would say some of the things you say are perhaps dangerous or toxic. So I thought you'd be a good person to speak to about this subject.
I didn't know much about you before this year, and then I suddenly became very aware of you, as the world did, because as I said
goody,
earlier,
man?
Welcome to the stream. You were the #1 subject searched on Google ahead of Donald Trump. Yeah. I didn't think it was even possible. Yeah. Why did you get suddenly so popular / infamous, do you think?
I exploded. I certainly didn't do that with magic. I've been on the internet for a very long time. I think in the world we live in now, as the other side, the people who disagree with me, as they get more and more tyrannical in their censorships and their hate mobs, etc., as standard masculine practices are deemed toxic, I didn't put a magic spell on everybody. I managed to accumulate a large amount of affinity
that's a
with the male populace across the Western world, because I'm simply saying things that many men believe, think, and feel.
The problem I would say is, I want to play you just a...
No, I want you to know that's a really good point. He's the most searched person on Google, more than Donald Trump. He got this amount of following. He's this famous for saying things that people relate to, for saying things guys agree to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't agree with this guy, people wouldn't write him like this at the end of the day, right? And of course, there's different ways you can look at it. Maybe he's giving off this really, like, at the end of the day, there's so many people that are fans of NBA Youngboy, but, you know, you're not going to say killing is right just because he got so much followers. You know what I'm saying? But, like, it's just like he says opinions and a lot of people agree with him. Those are their own people. He didn't program them niggas. So at the end of the day, there is a reason why he's famous.
There's a lot of stuff you say I agree with. You know, I've got 3 sons in their 20s. It's not easy, actually, being a young male in the modern world. And I think a lot of the things that you say about that can resonate with them. Yeah. The problem comes with the, I don't know, 10, 20% or whatever of your output, which on the face of it appears to be blatant misogyny. And when you couple that with your massive influence and huge reach, that is why the social media companies have decided to effectively cancel you. I don't believe in cancellation. I don't believe in censorship particularly. That's why I've invited you to come on the show. But I do think a lot of the things you've said are blatant misogyny. Do you accept that?
So you made a very interesting point there. You just said on the face of it appear to be blatantly misogynistic. I understand that on the face of some of the long format content I've made, if you're going to take a few seconds out of hours, chop it up, put it all over social media, accompanied with my massive fame, then things can absolutely not be taken out of context. I do not hate women in any regard. I have no negative relationship with women. No women have come forward saying I've hurt them. I have no criminal record for hurting women. There's no way I can be seen as the face or the devil in regards to how men treat women on the planet. I'm absolutely and utterly the opposite. I believe in protecting and providing. I've been misunderstood. There's been large contingents of people who have tried very hard to purport lies about me. And the truth of the matter is, I've been producing content for a very long time. Hours and hours of videos been cut down to 2 or 3 seconds of clip. Those clips have gone viral and people misunderstand me.
But one thing I want you guys to know, and by the way, I'm not no Andrew Tate dick sucker. So if you're one of those Andrew Tate ride or dies, nigga, like he's your father or something, like he's your fucking Lord and Savior, I mean, you gonna get mad at me at some points I make. Like I said, I agree with a lot of things that Andrew says and shit like that. I actually think, like, you know what I'm saying, like, he did good for himself. But what I'm telling you is like Andrew Tate knew that. Like, be fucking for real, right? You did one podcast. You did 2 podcasts, right? You said grab, slap, choke, sex, right? You said that. And people started clipping that and getting it out of context or whatever you might say. Okay, that's a mistake you made. Damn, these niggas is ruthless. You'd obviously think like, damn, like, I'm not gonna do that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to watch what I'm saying because I'm on a big stage now. And people can take what I'm saying in a wrong way. You understand what I'm saying? I still fuck with Andrew Tate. I'm telling you, but I'm not a dick sucker. I'm telling you what he's doing wrong. He knew what he was doing. He knew what was blowing up. That's why he kept on doing it. Right? The first 2 times, the first 3 times he went on a podcast, he said some out-of-pocket shit, but he didn't mean it in a bad way. And if you saw the full podcast, you would see that. But if he saw people taking a portion out of it and posting it, he'd be like, damn, I'm not going to do that again then. Because these niggas really be taking shit out of context. And I don't want to seem off as a bad person, so I'm going to stop doing that. He could have said that, but he didn't. Why? Because it was blowing up. Why stop?
You've used this phrase of be taken out of context, and I'm not sure that is correct in the sense that it still comes out of your mouth. And some of the things some of the things you've said, I just think are blatantly.
Well, let's do them. Let's hear them.
Let's go through some.
Sure.
Right. So you said this about Me Too stroke rape. This is probably 40% of the reason I moved to Romania. In Eastern Europe, none of this garbage flies. You go to the police and say he raped me back in 1988. They'll say, well, you should have done something about it back then.
Yeah, so the point I was making was obviously at the height of the Me Too scandal, and also if we look at Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, there's been a lot.
No, that's fucked. I'm telling you, that does not sound right, chat. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm actually excited, though. Like, he's fucked.
High-profile cases where men have been accused of things they did not do without evidence, and their lives have been completely and utterly destroyed.
Right.
When I say these things, people sit and say that, oh, he hates women. I don't hate women. I think rape is disgusting. I would take a stronger stance on rape than the British government. I think these people should face the death penalty. But to sit and say that women without evidence can go forward and just make up accusations against men, even though they've been repeatedly proven to destroy men's lives at will, is absolutely and utterly
What about a
asinine.
woman who was raped back in 1988 and goes to the police?
Then the man should face absolute and complete justice.
But you understand that when...
No, but what you said was you should have done something about it in 1988. Do you see how it catches up to him, though? Because Andrew Tate is saying the right thing, just in a horrible way.
When that clip appears on TikTok, as a clip, and all right...
As a clip, completely.
Okay, but it's still something that came out of your mouth. Do you accept that when that appears on TikTok, a lot of young, maybe not as smart as you, young men, right? Impressionable, teenagers, will read that and go, what's he saying here? Is he saying that rape doesn't exist?
No, I completely. I'm not going to sit here as a professional and say that I can't be taken out of context. What I will say is that one small sentence you've taken was from a 1-hour video where I explained that, of course, rape is disgusting. Of course, everybody should be punished for their crimes regardless of when they happen. But people are not perfect, male and female. And if you give women the opportunity to destroy men's lives without evidence, there's going to be a contingent of women who will do that.
But what you said does not give that message off. I'm telling you, that 1-hour podcast, you said some fucked up things, people take it out of context. That's a mistake, right? Me, I don't have that big of a platform. Right now, if I said some fucked up shit, just like he said it, right? You guys wouldn't clip it and post it. If you guys clipped it and posted, it's a low chance of blowing up, right? So I know these things. I can freely talk. But if I have millions and millions and millions of followers, I would be more careful of what I'm saying. I don't get to talk on my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get to talk on my ass like I used to. Because now I'm on a big stage. A lot of people look up to what I say. A lot of people take what I say out of context. So you have to focus and say, wait, like, think twice before you fucking speak. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if he's saying, like, some fucked up shit in his head, even though it's true, wait, should I say that though? How would it come off? What if somebody clipped it and put it on TikTok? This is something you gotta think of as a big, like, as a person who has a big following. That's what I don't get. Like, he's acting like all this happened without, like, his knowledge at all. Like, no, you knew this was gonna happen, Tate. Be fucking for real, man.
I'm trying to make a balanced and nuanced argument in a world where people have no attention span. They're going to take a few seconds, put it online, decide someone's good or bad, not be interested in the longer format video. And here I am. No, I'm certainly a person who takes personal responsibility. That's who I am as a person. But we live in a world now with TikTok videos 5 or 6 seconds long. There's no content.
Do you think women are the property of men?
No. The point I was making.
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious point. I said that when a man marries a woman, the woman's father walks him down the aisle, walks her down the aisle, and hands her away to the man. Traditionally, this is what it says in the Bible.
You should still wait. So just chat, but like you don't see it, chat. Just because her dad, it's a tradition, a beautiful tradition. You should never change that tradition into saying women are men's property, bruh. Chill. That does not mean that, bruh. Like, no, he's wild.
Religious person. I believe in God. I live in the most
So you
religious
do
country in the world.
think that the woman becomes the men?
I think she takes his last name.
I mean, let's watch the clip that you said about this
Sure.
so that we can get it in context.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Absolutely.
But I've been married twice, as it turns out, and on both occasions, I didn't believe that the woman was being handed to me as chattel, as property.
Perhaps the way the reason I'm asked that question repeatedly, and I'm asked in a loaded way.
So would you rephrase what you said there?
Now, that's an interesting point about phrasing. The way I would say things before I was famous, I have to take personal responsibility and accept that if I make a video that 500 people see and 1% of them misunderstand it, that's not a problem. If I make a video that 5 million people see and 1% of them understand.
So specifically on that point, I think my sister is her husband's property.
She took his last name.
He's finally coming to it. You see what I'm saying? He's finally coming to a realization. You can say she took his last name. You can say, oh, she's with her husband now. She's not with us anymore. You can't say my sister is her husband's property. That just doesn't sound right, bro. Stop. Like, you can't say that when millions and millions of people are watching you. Like, you gotta be more careful.
She married him. She wanted to join his family. She has said it herself.
Right, so she's
still a sovereign individual. She's absolutely not a sovereign
property
individual.
means that the husband owns your sister.
Listen, my friend, if we want to argue about this, you need to go back to the Bible, to the Quran. You need to argue with religious
No, I'm not
world.
talking about anything in the Bible or Quran. I'm asking
But that's what
you,
it says.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
What does it
I
say?
think that if a woman marries a man and she decides to take his
Wait. It says in the Bible and the Quran that, what's it called? A woman is a man's property once they get married? Is that what you're gonna say? Wait, chat. Can somebody actually, like, religious? Does it say that?
name, that they have different roles and responsibilities within that marriage, and I believe that.
That's not the question.
I believe the father.
Don't behave,
I am. The father hands her.
Don't behave like a politician.
The father hands her to the man.
Right, but don't be a politician, because I think you're a straight talker,
Sure.
right? You keep telling me you're a straight talker. I think my sister is her husband's property. Do you regret saying it like that?
I understand that with my newfound fame, perhaps it could be phrased differently. However, I still believe that a woman is given to the man in marriage. That's what I believe.
Yeah, but not as property.
No, the property is the word that other people use when they ask me the question.
But as an equal partner in a loving union. That's what marriage actually means. It doesn't mean
I think
that
you
when you
guys
get married, the
can't
woman is given to you as a bit of chattel.
Agreed.
So why say it?
But that's the way that people ask me the question. People say to me, they ask the
Oh,
question.
hang on. You can't blame people for asking you questions. Surely, if you want to be accountable for what
Sure.
you've said, you've got to own your responses, not blame the question.
I own the response.
Like me asking you a question now, and you say something, and then say, well, actually, I blame you for asking.
I understand, Piers. Piers, I understand. I believe the woman is given to the man. I believe she's given away by the father. I believe she belongs to the man.
So
if she belongs to the man.
Fundamentally, all right. So fundamentally, you do believe that a woman becomes a man's property at
I
marriage.
believe she belongs to the man in marriage, correct.
Right. Oh, you see, that to me is misogyny.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
Right. But do you not understand why people think it is?
It's fucked up. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. Like, I feel like I'm more on the logical side than saying, like, you know, actual definition, saying, like, you're a misogynist or this or that, right? Like, at the end of the day, no matter what you think that is, it's fucked up. You should never say it like that. You should never talk about your sister like that, right? Saying she's somebody's property, right? Okay, so, like, what's it called? I come and buy a sheep from you. That sheep belongs to me. That sheep is my property. Do you think you should call my sheep my property, and with your same mouth, do you think you should call my wife my property? Like, what makes the sheep and my wife different? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, like, you sound so fucked up. You can't say that, Tate. Like, real shit. Like, it just doesn't sound right. Like, if I bought something, that would be my property. But that same definition you're using to address my my wife, that's fucked up, in my opinion.
Changed your position, but the reality is you haven't.
It's not about changing positions. I'm a full-grown adult, and I stick by the things I say, and I'm responsible for them.
Which, by the way, is fine.
Absolutely.
But what you did say at the start of this little exchange, you said, you know, I wouldn't maybe say things the same way now that I did before I was famous.
Okay,
and yet, actually, you've doubled down and said exactly the same thing.
On certain points.
So that is what you believe. That's my point.
I mean, obviously it's implied though. Like, I mean, I'm not talking about the point. I'm just talking about real. Like, I feel like it's implied in the Quran and the Bible, like saying like, oh, like, but they say it in a lot more beautiful manner. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the Bible and the Quran says it as like, okay, now the man is responsible for it. You see how I can switch the words and make it sound more beautiful? You know what I'm saying? Like, just like you buy a sheep, that's your property. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that sheep is your responsibility. You can either call it your property or your responsibility. If you called your wife your responsibility, like you have to take care of her and stuff like that, it sounds way better than saying, oh, that's your property. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, he just has to choose his words. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just saying he has to choose his words carefully. Like, dead ass. Like, he can't keep going like this.
I'm trying to work out, look, I don't know you. We've
Correct.
just met, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out who Andrew Tate is and what you actually believe. I don't want to twist anything at all.
Then let me make it very, very clear to the camera. I believe a woman is given to the man in marriage. I believe that. I also believe a man has a duty to protect and provide for her.
Bro,
I believe a man should lay down
see
his
what I'm
life
saying? Like,
if something happens or his wife's life is threatened.
That's not
I
the
believe that women and children first are on the lifeboats.
But men,
I believe that men.
But a man doesn't own a woman.
It's not. No. It's okay.
Unless they literally buy them as a slave.
Well, obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about religious, biblical marriage. We're talking about something else.
Yeah, but I'm a Christian. I don't believe that I own my wife.
Do you
like,
believe your wife was given away to you when she took
You have to call him out on that though. Like, just like Destiny called out Sneeko, you have to say like, you can't say you believe in God when you're talking about fucking bitches, fucking choking, slamming girls, like you calling girls property. You can't put God's name in the same sentence as that.
Right? There's no denying that. You're smart, you're a good talker. I've seen a lot of the stuff. But when what I don't think you quite fully understand.
No, I understand very well.
When
Piers.
young, impressionable people
I understand
who
that
are
very
not
well.
as smart
I
see
am
things
fairly
like, I
religious,
think
yeah.
my sister is her husband's property, yes, and you've just reaffirmed that,
Yeah.
that belief. They think that they have the right to own women.
I understand that very well, Piers. Which is
That's why people think you're a misogynist.
Completely. I understand all of this very well, which is why when you're saying I was backtracking, I'm not.
Do you have any regret, though, over the way you phrase this stuff?
Well, this is the point I was trying to make.
At least say yes.
The point I'm trying to make is when I was not nearly as famous and I was making long format content, I was not sitting there anticipating I'd become the most Googled man on the planet and that a few seconds could be taken out of context. That was not my anticipation.
No, but it's
I
still
didn't
what
plan.
you believe.
This
It's
is
what
what
you
I mean. I understand at the start. You see what I'm saying? When you're getting into social media and you get 1, 2, 10 clips out of context, you learn from that though, Andrew. Like, you have to learn from that and say, damn, like, this shit is really getting taken out of context. I have to be careful with my words.
If you said to me, look, Piers, honestly, I've had time to think about this, and I wish I hadn't said it, I don't believe that. That's one thing. Actually, you've said the opposite. You said, actually, that's what I think, yeah.
I think that when a...
It doesn't really matter whether you recorded it when you're famous or not famous. It's what you actually believe, right?
I believe that a man has a duty to protect and provide for a woman. I believe that a
not answering
woman's
the
father
question.
gives her away to the man. That's what I believe, and that's in my marriage. That's the circumstance I'm going to live under. If people want to live in a different scenario, that's completely theirs. Their prerogative.
Bro, but do you see how he's trying to switch it? And I feel like if I was Pierce, I would never get caught by it. Okay, so is the woman the man's property or not? You know, do you want me to define property for you, or do you know what that is? So you're saying the man, what's it called? The girl belongs to the woman. I mean, yeah, the girl belongs to the man. Like, these things will shut him up and say, yeah, maybe I should have said that differently. All he has to say is like, oh, maybe I said it in a bad way.
You went on to say about authority over women. If I have a responsibility over her, I must have a degree of authority.
Yeah.
For the same reason, if I have responsibility over and people are going to use their mind, it's an example, an analogy, responsibility over a child, I have to have some authority.
Yeah.
So you believe as part of your ownership or your property of the woman, you have authority over her.
No, I believe if you have...
That's what you said.
I believe if you have responsibility over something, you have to have a degree of authority or you can't be responsible.
Yeah, but authority means, again, that you're the boss.
The point I'm making, if you'll please let me finish
Sure.
at this point, the point I was trying to make was talking about the safety of a woman. She was walking alone at night, and I was saying, well, I wouldn't let my woman walk alone at night. And they said, well, you're not in charge of her, you don't get to decide what she does. I said, I understand, but if I'm responsible for her safety, and I'm the person who's burdened with making sure she is safe, I have to have the authority to say, don't put yourself in unsafe situations. The two things are linked.
Well, you don't have authority. You can absolutely have the right to say to the woman you're with, I don't think you should, but ultimately...
If she decides, then I can't force her.
Right, so authority implies that you have the ability to control someone.
No, authority implies that I have the moral right to sit and say that that's an irresponsible thing to do and I'm responsible for
That's not what authority means.
Well, I'm not going to... If you think I'm going to lock somebody up in their room, is that what you're implying?
No, I don't think you know what authority means.
I know what it means.
He just used the wrong word. You know what I'm saying? Like, authority means you have, like, if you have an authority of somebody, like, over somebody, like, they can only do things that you allow them to do. Like, if you don't, you can disallow them to do something. Like, I feel like a parent has an authority over, you know, a child. Like, he can lock him in his room. He can't get out at night. So I feel like that's what a lot of people took it as. Again, you gotta pick your words, bro. Like, this is what comes with being a fucking celebrity. Being everybody trying to pick your words, you gotta be careful more. Like, you gotta be more careful with your words.
Just a different description of what authority
If I have responsibility for her safety, then I have to have the authority to tell her not to do unsafe.
Yeah, but authority means that you have some form of control over this woman.
I think what you're trying to do.
I'm only trying to get to what you think. Honestly, I am. I come with no agenda here at all.
I understand. And I'm explaining very, very clearly. If I have responsibility over said subject, I have to have authority over it. So let me say you have children, right?
Right.
You have responsibility for them.
No, I have legal authority over my children. That is very different to having legal authority over my wife or my female
You see
partner.
what I'm saying?
But the point
like, it's crazy. On my mother's life, I never watched this video. It's crazy how I make a point and they get to that point after. It's actually crazy to me.
to make.
So you accept that?
I accept that
Because you used the analogy of responsibility for a child.
My friend, these are very.
These are actually really important things.
They're
Andrew.
important things, but you interrupt me every 5 seconds, so it's hard for me to actually explain my point. The point I'm making here is very simple.
Piers,
you have children, and you're responsible for their safety, so you're going to have authority to say, don't go out at night, perhaps, because you want them to be safe.
I have legal authority.
You have a legal authority.
Yeah.
Legal authority. I'm saying that if I had a woman, and the question where you've raised this soundbite from, I was asked about protecting a woman, making sure she's safe. And I would say I wouldn't want her to go out at night on her own because I'm responsible for her safety. And someone said, well, you don't have authority over her to do that. And I said, well, no, I can't force her to stay inside. But if she were to ask me, how do I protect myself at night? I would say, well, you should stay inside. That's how you should do it.
Then you're making a suggestion. Like, you're telling her you should do this, but you can do whatever you want. You don't have authority over that then. Like, authority would be, yo, sit down, you're not going out. That's what, like, if you have authority over, like I said, your children, you would tell them you're not going out and lock the door. Keep them grounded. This is authority. You know what I'm saying? Like, actions of authority. But, like, you gotta understand, you're suggesting, like, oh, you shouldn't go out, right? But you can if you want. It's not authority. Like, it's just, he's using bad words. Everybody knows what he means at the end of the day, chat. Like, not everybody, though. Like, I know what he means, you know what he means. But some people out there can take it out of context. This is the things you gotta deal with as a famous person, right? If I'm talking to my chat, I know how my chat is. I know what you guys are gonna get, and I know what you guys are not. You know what I'm saying? So I can say, oh, I have authority over Melly. And I feel like you guys will understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just click. But I can't say that to millions of people and say everybody understands that. People are gonna take it out of context. So I gotta be careful with my words and say, like, I'm responsible for Melly, so I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. Say it in a good way that people can't take in a bad way. You understand what I'm saying?
The authority is something that she would give to me. She would come to me and say, how can I make sure I'm as safe as possible?
But I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to point out that's not what authority means.
That someone gives a person.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's arguing, like, you're running, you're getting blocked by a wall and you're just running. And that wall is the definition of authority. Andrew, authority means when you have some type of control, when you have some type of say-so over somebody. If you're saying, my girl can go out, but I suggest her not to, you don't have authority. You just proved yourself wrong.
Voluntary authority is not authority.
No, but that's the point.
It's not.
Piers,
Andrew, stop.
What is
Piers,
he talking
if a
about?
woman comes to me and says, I want you to keep me safe, she is handing me authority for her safety.
But do you understand the difference between having authority over somebody and somebody giving you permission to have authority?
You hire security guards. Just like a girl decides to be with Andrew Tate, you decide to hire security guards, right? They have some authority of what you do. But they can't force you. Do you see what I mean? It's like, I don't even think that's called authority. I don't think, like, they have a say-so of what you would say, what you would do if you listen to them, if you choose to listen to them. But you can fire those security guards anytime you want because you hired them. They're there to protect you. But if I say, oh, I'm going here, they would think, oh, like, that's a really hot spot. It's very dangerous. You shouldn't go out there. No, I still choose to go out there. Okay, I go out. If I die, it's on me. You understand what I'm saying?
Would you change the wording of what you said?
No, I would just encourage people to watch my long format copy and understand it
Would
fully.
you tell an 18-year-old boy you don't have authority over women?
Absolutely.
You would say that?
Unless a woman comes to him and says, you're responsible for my safety, please make sure keep me safe. Like
I
my
see.
woman
Now
says,
that
comes to
Andrew
me.
Tate, I can sign up to.
Well, then we agree.
Yeah, but I don't agree with what you said before.
Because you're taking a soundbite.
You see, now he's kind of making sense though. He's saying, like, I want you, if she says, please keep me safe, I want you to keep me safe. If today she's not thinking straight and she wants to get out, I'm going to lock the door. You're not getting out. Because I'm responsible for your safety. You see, that makes sense. But it's like, you know, you really have to explain it for people to get it.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
Oh,
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really.
He set him up with that. Do you respect women? I knew, like, if he had do you respect women, I would have, like, oh shit, I'm fucked. I knew so. I knew something was coming. Like, out of nowhere, he said, do you respect women? Yeah. But do you think 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 35-year-old women? He's on BT.
I
Is it?
can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that.
Tate is fucked, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys can't. Like, he can't say, like, bro, he can't say fucked up shit like this and get away with it. Like, every artist against Tate, bro. He has dirt. He has dirt on Tate, bro. He can't do shit, bro. He's fucked. He quoted that motherfucker. Lord have mercy.
I'll blow up the internet right effing now.
Oh,
the reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick.
Damn.
People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times,
My
more
God.
arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are
Oh my God, he said 25-year-olds has been fucked and dumped, and I have more dirt to clean up. Chat, but like, as a man, I kind of understand what he's saying. Like, I understand what he's saying. He's just saying it in the most fucked up way possible. Oh my God, you guys really don't understand, like, the importance of wording, bro. Yeah, like, it's just the wording. Like, you don't, but chat, how many times have I told y'all the importance of wording? And this is the pure example of it. Like, you know, let's say you have the worst intent in the world. You want you want the worst for that person. But if you're good with your words, you can sound like the best person in the world. That guy would think you're his best friend if you know how to use your words. Let's say you wish the best for this guy. You hope all the best for this guy, right? But you don't know how to use your words. You're a dumbass. Like, you're just fumbling all over the... Like, he gonna look at you like you're his enemy or something. It's very important, bro. Like, I understand what he's saying. Like, girls that have been through more guys and stuff like that come with a lot. You know, if that's what he's trying to say, it makes sense. But you can't say 25-year-olds are less attractive because they've been through dick more. Like, it's fucked. Chill, bro. You can't say that.
encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty
by some men.
anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
And this is kind of like a debatable topic. Okay, he's saying, it's not anti-women if I only am dissing 25-year-olds. Okay, so do you think if a white person, right, and I'm gonna connect this to racism, if a white person compared an 18-year-old black man to a 25-year-old black man, like saying like the reason why they're in jail is because they gangbang more than 18-year-olds, do you think that would come off as racist? Like, do you think no matter how he complimented the 18-year-old black man, if he came for the 25-year-old black man, don't you think that'll come off as racist? And this is what it means. Like, this is like, at the end of the day, chat, like, no matter how you feel, you gotta accept the truth. This is what the internet comes with. A white man complimented this 18-year-old man, and he's comparing him with this 25-year-old man. But he's fucking like calling this 25-year-old man ran through and shit, just like he is. So he can't say I'm not racist because I didn't diss an 18-year-old black man. I only dissed a 25-year-old black man. If you diss any black man, you're racist. You understand what I'm saying? That's how it's coming off as. And I'm telling you, this is a good debate. It can go both ways. You can say things that can make sense, right? Like I told you, this can go both ways. I'm saying not only this, like make racist comments about a 25-year-old is what I'm saying. Like he just said, girls are less attractive because they've been through more dick. Like that's equivalent as like saying like, oh, this black man is a gangbanger, like type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, he says the most fucked up shit to the 25-year-old woman. So I'm saying like you can be like, no, but that's not how you meant it. No, but like that's not what he means, blah blah blah. It doesn't matter what the fuck he means. You're on social media. Millions and millions and millions and millions of people watching you. You have to be careful with your words. It doesn't care what your intention is. Nobody cares what your intention is. Nobody knows you as a person. Do you agree with Tate if he said it in a more respectfully? 100,000,000,000%. Like, what he's trying to say is an 18-year-old is an innocent, like, and by the way, the 18-year-old nowadays are not innocent. Let's just start with that, like a high percentage. By the way, anyways, let's say an innocent 18-year-old. Let's say you start a relationship with an innocent 18-year-old. You have less to deal with. You're not going to deal with any exes. She's not going to compare you to any of her past niggas. Nothing, like she's not hurt from her past niggas. Like these are things that you don't have to deal with. Where if you went to a 25-year-old woman that has been through a lot of guys, fucked them, or a relationship, you would have a lot more to deal with. Everything he said made sense. But it's just a horrible way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hated your boss, you wouldn't say, I fucking hate you. I mean, I wouldn't say I fucking hate you to anybody. Like, if I dislike somebody, I wouldn't say, like, it's just rude. You're going to be like, oh, why can't you say that? Like, I mean, you can if you want, but it's just rude. You shouldn't say that. You know what I'm saying? You
said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
So you don't think if you're saying slightly hateful things about a 25-year-old...
That's not slightly hateful.
Well, it is. Do you think you say that to a woman's face if she's 25?
It's not slightly hateful.
So you would go up to a 25-year-old woman and tell her exactly what I've just read out?
Why would I walk up to a random 25-year-old woman?
Because you said it in public on the internet and it's been listened to.
If he said it not to gain traction,
correct. There was a large panel. There was a conversation. There was hours long of conversation. There were feminists attacking men for toxic masculinity and attacking me and saying things, and I said things back which were going to antagonize them.
But I think,
which you've done yourself a bunch of times.
I think a lot of allegations of toxic masculinity are not toxic.
Correct.
I do think that kind of sentence that I just read out, that paragraph,
I'm agreeing with it? Okay, facts.
Toxic. If you genuinely mean that, and you say you wouldn't say it to a woman's face, but you said it in public about women of that age.
You're making out like I'm walking around the street going up to random 25-year-olds.
Well, effectively, you're doing it to tens of millions of people online. There's no difference.
Not at all. We're discussing a topic. We were discussing the ideal age of a man.
Should young boys, right, in their teens, are you comfortable that they would have that mindset? Be honest.
I think that young boys in their teens lack life experience. They lack nuance. and they need to be very, very careful what they're digesting online, whether it's my content or anybody else's. I think.
And you want to play a part in that bad content. Like, what the fuck? He's playing a part in that bad content teenagers are receiving. Like, just ask Andrew Tate this. Do you think that's a good way to talk to a woman or about a woman? Do you think that's a good way to talk about a woman? Like, I don't care what the context is. Do you think you saying 18-year-olds are more preferable than 25-year-olds because the 25-year-olds have been through more dick? Do you think that's a good way to talk about women? Like, you can't tell me, yes, that's a good way. I'm not saying you're lying or anything. Let's say I agree with you. You have to say that in a better way.
Do you regret saying stuff like this?
I don't.
And actually, do you see it as weakness to admit you shouldn't have said something like that?
No, I don't live with regret. I think what's happened is that, like I said, long format content, arguments with feminists, arguments with the toxic masculine crowd, arguments with the left, and they're going to take a small clip, small sentence from ours, and they're going to try and paint me as a
But
villain.
I'm not left or right.
I don't know what you are, Piers.
Exactly. That's my point. No, but that's my point.
And I understand, and you're doing exactly as I knew would happen on this interview, which is because you're a busy man, you're not going to watch hours and hours and hours of video.
Actually, I have watched hours and hours of video, and I'm going to come to the stuff where I agree with you, and I'm going to come to the stuff about your censorship, which
Sure.
I have issues with. So this is, it's a long interview, right?
Sure.
I just thought off the top, you said to me, and you were quite bold about it, well, go on, then let's go through these.
And you should keep going. I will sit here and stand by what I said. I believe.
All he has to do is restate what he said, right? Just say, it's a universal. There's so many facts. Like, you want me to tell you another fact that there are more black gangsters than white gangsters? Oh, black people are the ones fucking up our country. I mean, you can say like, oh, it's facts. Look at the fucking stats. Oh my God, it's a fucked up thing to say. What? Like, you guys don't understand. Like, you can have all the facts you want, right? But there are 25-year-olds that are innocent. So when you say 25-year-olds are less preferable, you're talking about all 25-year-olds. That includes the innocent 25-year-olds that have been saving themselves for marriage.
Leave that
on
man.
that, I just read to you there.
Yeah.
Do you wish you hadn't said that?
I understand how it's been misconstrued. I understand how it's been weaponized against me. Do I regret it because it's been weaponized and used against me? Well, that's slightly annoying.
That's not why I want you to
Did I
regret
at the time mean what I said in the context of the conversation, which obviously you're not familiar with and the people at home are not familiar with? No, I meant what I said.
The 25-year-old women, they've just talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up.
Well, there's a whole bunch of context and conversation around that's been missed, and I
I don't
encourage
think
you.
I'm missing much context.
Well,
It's pretty-
All he has to do. I wish Piers said, okay, give me the context. I wish he said that, and it would still come off as fucked up. You guys gotta understand. Like, I'm not disagreeing with Andrew Tate. What he's saying is right. By the way, if I was Andrew Tate in this position right now, there's an easy exit route he could take. He can say, oh, okay, what I meant it as was, as an 18-year-old, she doesn't have a lot of things I have to deal with as past guys, past trauma, and things like that. Right? I would prefer her more than a 25-year-old that has been through so much. And it was a heated argument, and that's why I got emotional and said that. I wish I said it differently, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I still mean it. Maybe I should have said it differently, but I still mean it. Like, you didn't lose at that point. It makes sense. Like, you could have easily went by this argument by saying that. But Andrew just don't want to lose. He's so stuck up. He's not disrespecting all women. He's disrespecting. So let me quote what he said and tell me if that's... 18 and 19-year-olds are more preferable than 25-year-olds because they've been to the club more, they've been out more, and they've been fucked and dumped more, right? And he just said 25-year-olds. He's comparing 25-year-old girls and 18-year-old girls. At what part does he say 25-year-old girls that have been through this, or he literally generalized 25-year-olds and say they've been fucked and dumped more. That's why they're less preferable. All 25. He's talking about all 25-year-olds. I don't care if you know Andrew personally and that's what you know what he means. We're talking about the words. The words, bro. Nope. I've never seen Andrew Tate. That's the first video I've seen. I'm gonna take it in a bad way. How many % of 25-year-olds do you think have been through dick and got dumped. Tell me your percentage. 70% of 25-year-old women has been through dick and got dumped. 25-year-old women. Every 25-year-old woman in the world, 70% of them have been through dick and dumped. This is how y'all think, though. What can I say to that? Okay. Just think about all the Muslims. No, we're not talking about wit. He said 25. Did he say 25-year-olds in the fucking West? No, he didn't say that. He said 25-year-olds. Think about all the 25-year-olds in the religion communities in the in countries outside of America where they find this shit so disrespectful. 70% is, oh my God. I would tops 10%, 20%. So 20% of 25-year-olds have been through dick and got dumped. No, 10%. 10% of girls have been through dick and got dumped. Now you're generalizing the rest, the 90-year-olds, the 90% of 25-year-olds. You're generalizing them with that 10% and saying they don't need, they're automatically less attractive because they've been through dick. I don't care how you're taking it as. It's the words, bro. Like, you're arguing with me. Like, I understand what you're saying. I agree with you. But the words are not right.
So, again, my point is simply, if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for a woman that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about. It's not a truth I created.
Hang on. You're doing it again. What do you mean that's a truth in other parts of the world? That's what you said. It's not, you're not talking about another part of the world. You're talking about what you believe is the difference between 18 and 90-year-olds and 26-year-olds.
I was talking about...
It's your belief.
I was talking about what the people on the panel believe the difference is.
So what do you think the difference is?
I think the difference is age.
What's the difference then?
Well, then a 26-year-old's older than a 19-year-old.
And so you stand by what you said about talking to the guys, being to the club more times, being effed and dumped more times. Well, you believe that or not?
No, there's plenty of 26-year-old women who have been with one man or virgins, of course.
So you don't believe that?
I don't think that the age is the only thing that's going to decipher how many men or women.
Right, so if you don't actually believe what you said, just say sorry.
It's not about not believing what I'm saying. It's about you understanding that there's large conversations going on.
I'm just reading back stuff you've said.
I know
and I'm asking you, do you believe it?
I believe that it's more likely a 26-year-old's had more partners than a 19-year-old.
Right. You don't know that.
This is a good place. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I shouldn't have said it like that. I should have said it in a better way, knowing it was going to blow up. But you understand what I'm saying, though. Like, you know I'm not a bad person. You see, case closed is what I'm saying. But Andrew Tate is just deflecting. Like, you ask him, if he said yes or no, and he asks him a question, I guarantee you Andrew's not going to say yes or no. He's going to try to explain. It's like it's deflecting.
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
How many times?
Plenty. I believe in love between men and women.
I mean, real love, you know, where it's...
I believe...
How many times would you say?
Enough. I believe men and women are a beautiful union. I think we're slightly different, but when we work together, we're the most powerful force in the world.
How many women have you loved?
I don't know, Piers. A few.
Give me a ballpark. 5, 10, 20?
Let's say...
You don't forget how many people you've been in love with.
Let's say 10. I mean, I've been in love, and I certainly believe that men and women, when they work together, it's the most...
Andrew, you loved... Okay, can I say something? Without you guys... Okay, let me... Wait, I just want to, like, first, before I do anything, I want permission from you guys Can I say what I think? Because I know you dick suckers is gonna be on my dick. You being in love with 10 women and breaking up with each of those 10 women says a lot about you, Tate. I just feel like you can't speak about love if you've been in love 10 times. I mean, that does give you experience, but what I'm trying to say is you can't speak about true love if you've been in love 10 times. I just don't believe you can be in true love 10 times, bro.
So I want you to understand that I'm talking about protecting and providing for women. I'm talking about a man making
Do you
sure
want
a
to get
woman-
married?
No, but we have to all feed into each other, Piers. I'm talking about
It's
protecting.
not a hard question.
No, but I'm talking about protecting and providing for a woman. I'm talking about a man being responsible for her safety.
I understand.
So of course I believe in men and women. Of course I believe in love. Of course I believe in marriage. Of course I believe in family.
No, but none
the
of that was
idea
my
that I
question.
don't believe in
Andrew,
the idea that I don't believe in these things
I
is
didn't
crazy.
ask you if you believed in it. I asked you if you're going to get married.
One day, absolutely.
You'd like.
You see how, like, chap, but I just want y'all to see why Piers is interrupting him. He asked him, are you gonna get married one day? And he just fully explained why he believes in marriage. Okay, Tate, that's great. That's not what I asked you, though. Do you see it from a person that's interviewing? Do you see it from his perspective, though? Like, can you see it from I understand you hate Piers right now, but, like, do you understand why Piers is interrupting him?
There are a lot of clips of you floating around on the internet, as you know. One of them has you saying, bang out the machete, boom in her face, grip her by the neck, shut up, bitch. In another, you say, slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. When people see those clips,
You're fucked. Do you like? I'm sorry, but Tate got he got an AK, and Piers got multiple tanks. You're fucked. What are you gonna say to that? Oh, I was joking. He's obviously not gonna say he's joking. How is that good? Just look at his face. Just look at his face. Look.
what you just said. Here's where my problem comes, right? There are a lot of clips of you floating around on the internet, as you know. One of them has you saying, bang out the machete, boom in her face, grip her by the neck, shut up, bitch.
Lord,
in another, you say, slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex.
Sex. Oh.
When people see those clips and hear you say those things,
you're fucked. But chat, this is what I mean by when you're on a big stage, you can't say these things. Take for the clutch up. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. He fucked up. He said, pull out a machete type of shit, nigga. He said, choke, slam, slap, bitch, sex, sit down, sex. Nah, you fucked. That's what I'm telling you, chat. No matter how much you agree with Tate, right? He says things in such a bad way that the odds are against him. Like, bro, if this guy didn't run some OnlyFans shit, some casino shit, if this guy actually ran some legit shit, like on Twitter and shit like that, this nigga would lose a lot of money just by the things he's saying. He's fucked after that, bro. What do you expect this nigga to say? He's fucked. Okay, let's see what he says though, bro.
Agreed.
well, I don't think that it's not hard to misunderstand it.
It is.
You might say that it's consensual. Other people would say, whether it's consensual or not, that's a very ugly way to talk about women.
Completely. Now let's
Hitting
watch.
them with machetes.
No, watch the whole video. It's a girl coming at me with a machete and me saying, here, slap the machete out of her hand. She's
understand.
attacking me.
I
So you don't
understand.
understand. This is the exact point.
I do understand.
Oh, the girl came in with the machete. I didn't even know that. Yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. Why the girl coming in with a machete? Slap, clap, slam down, sex.
People don't watch them in full. And this is actually what's interesting. And please don't interrupt me on this point. Social media has changed in modern times. YouTube 5 years ago was 5, 6, 7, 8 minute long videos. Now we have TikTok, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Stories. Now anything you produce that's long form is cut down to very, very short form. They're interested in clicks, they're interested in engagement.
Of course.
They find
But
the
you
most
benefited from all that.
find the most controversial clips they can.
Hey.
You benefited from all that.
Real shit. And this comes back to the hour clips I'm talking about. Okay, you get an hour clip, you do a 2-hour podcast, right? And let's say they clip it out of context. 1, 2 times, right? You make a second podcast, they take something out of context again. But you learn, right? You learn and you say, wait, let me watch my words. Because a lot of people are taking it out of context and I'm looking like this bad person. So let me chill with my words. Let me not be as aggressive. But no, he didn't say that. He knows this, right? He knows that he knows what's going to be a clip and what's not. I'm telling you, like, when he's in a podcast, when he's saying slam, slap, sex, he knows people are going to post that. He knows they're going to put that on TikTok, but he still decides to say it. So this is something he's aware of and still doing. He knows that people are still going to take it out of context and he's still going to do it. That's what I'm saying. That's where the problem comes in. You should know that you have a big audience. A lot of people take shit out of context, so you got to calm down. You got to calm down and say things in a respectful, good manner. If you were with your friends, say whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Funny shit like this. You guys say I know you guys said some of the fucked up shit with your friends. Right? I know one of you guys made some fucking child jokes. Like, I've seen some weird ass jokes been made with people. But it's like, that's in private. You're not saying that to the millions of people that are watching you. Do you understand what I'm saying? People are going to take things out of context regardless. That makes sense. But when you're saying slam, choke, slap, sex, it's destined to get taken out of context. You should never say some shit like that if you're on a big stage. That you have to agree with. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you or anything. I'm just saying, like, you have to be careful with your words, bro. Yeah, just bad wording. I'm telling you, like, he has horrible wording. But I don't feel like he has horrible wording because he's dumb. I know he has horrible wording on purpose to blow up. On one of the things he said, okay, on the 25-year-old, on the 18-year-old thing he said, okay, I'll fuck up the internet. Or I'll get the internet to go crazy. And then he said the following thing. He knows what he's doing. It's not because he's dumb. It's because he's doing it on purpose to blow up.
Was it The Hustler? What is it called?
I had an online school.
Called?
Hustlers University.
Right. And their whole job was to promote your clips. Make you rich and famous. So you've benefited from this system. The one you now profess to hate. You've benefited from
I never said I hated
You've
it.
clickbaited like the best of them.
I never said I hated it. I'm saying what happened. I don't hate it. I don't hate social media. I think it's a very powerful force. I don't hate the social media. I'm saying
The point is, I think you can talk, you can talk to girlfriends of yours, maybe a secret wife, I don't know. It's entirely up
Or
to
two.
You. Or two. Maybe you've got 10 wives, that's your business. I don't care, right? My only thing is, I don't care what you do in private. If it's consensual between you and another woman, you can do what you like, right? It's your life. I believe in freedom and liberty. It's when you say it in public, it's the influence that this kind of thing has on young men.
Agreed.
Right? And I speak to someone with 3 sons, right? Who are, by the way, they're intrigued by you. They're fascinated, right? You're a big thing in that world of TikTok and so on. So they all are aware of you and what you say. So they're all looking. And when they see things like the machete thing, I get the context because I'm a 57-year-old guy who's been around the block a bit, and I can get what you said and you responding.
Piers! He said I've been around the block a bit. Nigga, I fucked some bitches here and there. Like, nigga, like, it's not nothing big, not nothing major. I know what you talking about. Nigga, Piers really like that, I'm telling y'all, bro. Like, he just owed a little bit now. But he really been like that. He been fucking with bitches with machetes and shit. He said, I know what you talking about. Real shit.
Particular scenario which you'd created where a woman...
But it can be misunderstood.
I understand. So my point to you is, given that you know it can be misunderstood, do you regret saying things like this on camera where it can be disseminated by less intelligent young males who think that is actually what they should be doing to women?
And finally, we get to the point of the issue, which is the point I tried to make at the very beginning. When I made a video before I was famous that got 500 views, me being concerned that 1% of people will misunderstand it was not relevant. Where
Makes
you start
sense.
getting 5 million views a video, 50 million views a video,
There you
1% of people misunderstanding
Doesn't
it
change what you
becomes no, it doesn't. But it becomes a much larger problem.
But you see, this is where I disagree with Piers. I agree with Andrew completely. What he's saying is, he said those fucked up things when he had 500 viewers. I completely understand what he's saying. I'm getting 1,000 viewers, 2,000, live 40, 20. I can say these things and not have to like pay for it as of right now, right? Okay, let's say this is a mistake he made back in the days when he didn't have a lot of viewers. This is a mistake he made back then when he didn't think he had a lot of influence. Makes sense. Now that you have millions and millions of views, why do you continue to say these fucked up things, Tate? Like, this is the main question. Like, he's literally saying that back then I only had 500 views, so it didn't have that much of a negative impact. But now you're having tens and 50 million views, right? Why do you continue to say these bad things?
So with great fame
That's true.
comes great responsibility.
Right.
So
I agree.
Would I now that
Here's my
I'm
que-
famous,
yes.
do I say things the same way as I did back before I was famous? Absolutely not.
Right.
As neither would you or nearly any other famous person on the planet.
So my
Once you
logical-
become famous, you have to be a lot more careful with
I
how you
understand.
say things.
I understand.
Wow! Tate himself said it. Do you guys believe it now? Oh my God, real. Everybody that been arguing with me taking Andrew Tate's side, your father himself said it. What do you want now? What do you want now? You want me to rewind it one more time for you?
Nearly any other famous person on the planet.
So my
Once you
logical-
become famous, you have to be a lot more careful with
I
how you
understand.
say things.
How you
understand.
say
My-
things with your words. With your words, you gotta be. What did I say this whole time? It's himself. Tate himself said it for you. Since you top G Andrew Tate, he said it himself for you. What do you want me to do now?
My logical follow-up to that remains: do you
Of course
regret
you don't
then
believe in
saying it
Tate,
the way
that's
you
the
said
joke.
it?
I can't
Bro,
live in
come
regret
on, bro.
by saying something before I was famous on a camera which barely anybody watched, and then I became
That's
famous
true. I
afterwards.
can
That would
agree
be
with
a
that.
very asinine way to view the world.
Do
I
you
can't live
stand,
in.
do you stand by all those
I
things?
can't live in regret because I didn't know I was going to become the most famous man on the planet. Regret would be the wrong word. Is it inconvenient? Sure,
Facts.
but I can't sit here and say I wish I knew 6 years ago I'd be the most famous man on the planet and monitored all of my speech forever. That's asinine.
You see, but one of the problems that people have with you is that
Oh,
they
shit.
think you have a
pulled out the
malevolent
paper.
influence on young people. This was the excuse that was put out by the big tech companies.
Excuse being the key word.
Well, it may be actually. You know, I intrinsically I have a problem with censorship. I don't think Donald Trump should be banned from Twitter, for example, because the Ayatollah of Iran remains on Twitter and other social media platforms. And whatever I think of you, you're not the Ayatollah of Iran, right? So to me, there's got to be perspective here. And I don't understand the inconsistency by what companies like Twitter, how they treat the
How much
leader
the
of
buzz?
Iran.
Fuck you mean buzz,
And
bro?
someone like you. It seems to me they're much more draconian on people like you
Yeah.
than they are with people who perhaps should not be allowed platforms.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting talking to you is it seems to me like you have gone on a bit of a journey of self-awareness about the impact of some of the stuff you said in the past, and you have said you wouldn't say it again in the same way. Now, you may not want to express regret for that, but it shows me that at the very least, you have evolved to somebody who recognizes that these can be quite damaging in the way that you said them.
Completely. As a professional and as an adult, it would be stupid for me to
keep
sit
saying
here and say that
professional?
now that I'm the most famous man on the planet, my words do not have more impact than they did before. With impact, with power comes responsibility, and things need to be worded in a very careful way. Now, when I do a long format interview, I have to sit there and consciously understand that any 10 seconds of that can be cut and used against me. So I
Thank you, bro. Thank you. What I've been saying the whole time, but like I give credit to myself. You dick sucking ass niggas not gonna do it. I give credit to myself. Like, and this is things on my mom's life. I never seen this clip. I never seen this video. These are things I said before they happened. So it really shows my intelligence in this shit. It really shows you that you should start listening. Like he said look at this, bro.
With power comes responsibility, and things need to be worded in a very careful way. Now, when I do a long format interview, I have to sit there and consciously understand that any 10 seconds of that can be cut and used against me. So I have to be a lot more careful with how I say my words and how I construct my sentences.
What did I say though? Like, and I'm saying you niggas is like Some of you niggas is dick suckers. Nobody's gonna. I know you guys are not gonna give me the credit I deserve. But me as my, like, I know this shows like really that I'm really intelligent, bro. I'm telling you, I really know what I'm talking about. That if I've been making the comment for 40 minutes throughout the video, 40 minutes in, Andrew Tate says it himself, like realizes it. I've been trying to, like, if I was in front of him, he would have realized it a long time ago because I would have made him believe that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this really shows what I'm about, nigga.
It's not an issue I discuss. What I do discuss is
So
that...
you support transgender people?
I support individual liberty. I'm a libertarian.
Yeah, so you support transgender people?
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but my point is, as a whole,
Damn.
you're saying that I'm saying I don't want to see men in dresses. I'm saying no. I'm
You
saying
support gay people?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a large...
But chat, you see, like everybody that you know what I'm saying, that like, look, chat. Okay, so now this is what we're talking about when we're talking about like knowing who Andrew Tate is. Chat, who knows he's lying, bro? Be for real, bro. Be for real, bro. Who knows he's lying? Who knows? Bro, I know for a fact he doesn't support gay people. I know for a fact he doesn't support transgenders. He's just saying that because he has millions and millions of views. But you guys, this all connects. You don't understand. It all connects. Like, you really, like, you see him do what I've been telling him to do. Be careful with his words. He didn't say like, oh, I support all transgenders. If he really supported all transgenders, he would have said, oh my God, I support all transgenders. Anybody should be able to do whatever they want. But he said, sure. You can tell he doesn't fully support it, but the reason why he said he doesn't support it, because he knows they'll bite him in the ass.
Look, when you support masculinity and masculine traits, I'm with you, right?
Okay, so you agree a man should protect and provide for a woman?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you agree if you were walking down the street with a woman, you'd be responsible with her safety?
Yeah.
Cool, absolutely. So if that woman wanted to walk alone at
I don't
night
think
and
I have authority over the woman as we do that.
Okay, so let me ask you another question, Piers, because we are professionals. Let's say your woman decided she wanted to take a nice little walk through the south side of Chicago at 2 a.m., and she wanted you to go with her, and you were responsible for fighting and dying on the spot if she was attacked. Don't you think you would say to her, no, we're not going out right now, it's not safe?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have authority to make the decision. So
No,
we
I
agree.
wouldn't.
So
I would say
so
I
we
don't
agree.
think you should. If she decides to, it's her own volition.
Well,
I mean, look. I agree with Tate, by the way, but I just think Tate is taking it a bad, like, he's taking a bad approach. He's saying you have authority over the woman, which you don't. If she says, I still want to go out, authority would mean you would lock the door on her and tell her, sit down. You can't do that. She has freedom too. She can do whatever she wants. You can suggest she doesn't go out, but you don't have authority of anything, right? But me, if I was in Andrew Tate's position, I would ask Piers, like, okay, let's think logical. This is your wife that you love to death, and you know her going outside is not safe. Why would you let her, wait, so you would just let her go outside? That means you really don't love her then. You knowing there might be a chance of her getting hurt. For example, Melly, she's my girlfriend that I love. If we were in our apartment and she said, I'm walking at night, I would either not let her out or I would go with her. One of those. I wouldn't let her go alone. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what I'm saying, like, about Piers, what he's trying to say. Like, this is a debatable topic. Like, at the end of the day, like, if we're really being for real, you have some sort of authority over your girlfriend because of a person you love, especially when it's a woman. You want to defend her, and you're gonna do all it takes to defend her. You will lock the door so she doesn't leave to defend her, right? So if you say it out in public and say, I will lock the door on her, that might seem wrong. Oh, she's a woman, let her do what she wants. But in private, it's something you would do out of the love you have for the woman. You know what I'm saying? That's where I agree with him.
I have no power to stop her.
Completely.
But you think you do?
No, I don't think I have power to stop her.
You clearly do.
No, I think I have power to make the decision. I think, no, that's not
So
sensible.
if you have the power to make the decision, you have the power to stop her.
No, because
And
if
that's where we differ. And that's why I think it's interesting about you. I don't think you really think through what you're saying.
I think through what I'm saying so carefully.
Yeah, but Andrew,
Piers.
what you've literally
You really
just said
Yeah.
is that you have the power to stop her.
No, I said I don't have the power to stop her. I'm not going to lock her in the room. I'm
No, he
saying
said
that.
it.
So if
as
she
a-
wants to go on her own,
then she's going to go.
then
But
you
as a
don't have authority to stop
Okay,
her.
but as a couple, if we're going to sit there and decide if we're going to take this,
You asked me, would I feel a sense?
No, at that point, Chad, like Andrew Tate should have really said, I love this girl to death. She's telling me she's gonna go out at night and I know it's unsafe. I'm not gonna let her out of the love I have for her. Because I'm protecting her. Like that's the way he should have took. But he's saying like I don't have the power to stop her. She can go. No man that loves his woman is gonna let her let their woman go at night knowing it's unsafe. And you can't love a woman and do that at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So like, yes, it's wrong to lock the door on her, but I feel like there's a right way to see it too. You do it out of the love you have for her. You're holding her back. Wait, what are you really holding her back from? You're not taking her freedom. She can go out on a walk tomorrow morning. You're just saying wait until it's tomorrow morning because I love you and I don't want you to get hurt. I want you to stay safe. That's what I'm saying. Like I would have let my mom out. I would have let my sister out. Just like that, I would have let my women out. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like any woman would like that because it really shows how much you care. So we're really taking things technical right now, and he should have came to more of the realistic, more emotional side. Like at the end of the day, I love her. What you want me to do, Piers? Let her out, knowing she might get hurt? If I go with her, I might get hurt with her. I don't want to get hurt, but I don't want her to get hurt either. So I'm not gonna let her out. You know what I'm saying?
What do you believe about depression? Do you believe depression is a real thing?
I believe that feeling depressed is real. I don't believe depression as a clinical disease is real, no.
Really?
Correct.
You don't believe people can be clinically depressed?
I think PTSD is very real. Unfortunately, I have some friends who suffer from that. I know that feeling depressed is real. I believe that the number one power you have against these things are trying to take control of your own mind and affecting your own life. I believe that it's not healthy to hand over all your power and believe that depression is an outside disease that you can't affect.
Facts.
I know that when I've had difficult periods in my life, and also many of my friends, like I've said, suffer from PTSD and been through terrible things. I've lived a very difficult life, and I know people who have, that the things that made them feel better is when they woke up and said, you know what, I'm not gonna allow this to damage me anymore. I'm gonna take responsibility. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna fight this as hard as I can.
And by the way, on that, I agree.
So we agree.
Right? My favorite speech is the Rocky Balboa one.
Okay, so then we agree. No, we did.
Here's where we don't agree.
Piers.
You don't, no, hang on. You got to let me interject when I don't agree with you, right? Where I don't agree with you is that there's no such thing as clinical depression. There absolutely is.
Well,
it's a proven scientific medical reality. There's a different argument about have we gone a bit too soft, right, in schools and all the rest of it. Absolutely. Do I think some people moan and whine too much about their lot in life? Definitely.
Okay.
Are we a victimhood society? 100%.
Okay.
Is there such a thing as clinical depression? Absolutely.
So
and my argument is...
Look, chat. At the end of the day, he has a belief. The fuck? I don't care what the fact says. I believe it's wrong. He can say that. Andrew Tate can say he believes it's wrong. And to be frankly honest with you, I completely agree with Andrew Tate. I feel like if you're depressed, right? Like he said, you can be depressed temporarily, right? So if you're depressed today and then the doctor told you you're clinically depressed, if you accept that depression, how can you ever get better? Like if he literally tells you you're clinically depressed, like how can you, like if you accept the fact that you're depressed forever, how can you ever get better? I feel like you would have a better chance recovering without believing you have clinical depression. And if you're depressed all the time and the doctor tells you you're clinically depressed, you're gonna believe him because you're depressed all the time. But if the doctor lied to you and said you're not clinically depressed, you can get better. You just have to, practice this, get up, blah, blah, blah. I feel like you can get better. It's all about what you tell your head. Our brain is a lot more powerful than people think. But how can you agree with a doctor? But at the end of the day, I can still have my beliefs. Just like, Tate can have his beliefs.
That if you actually bracket everybody who's not clinically depressed and doesn't have the genuine medical condition, then actually if millions of people are deemed to have depression, the ones who really need the help don't get it. Well, that's my point.
Well, that I would agree with. You're right. I think it's certainly an overused term.
But you don't accept there is such a thing as clinical depression.
No, I don't.
And that to me is a damaging view.
Okay. Well, let me explain why. If someone comes to me and says I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person. Stop accepting you have no control over this. And what you need to do is stop identifying that way, and let's work together to try and fight
But
against
there
it.
isn't an eminent doctor
Let me tell you though.
in the world who would tell you there is no such thing.
No. Let me actually replay this because this might become a TikTok clip.
Okay, well, let me explain why. If someone comes to me and says, I'm clinically depressed or I feel very, very sad, I would say the first thing you need to do is stop accepting the identity of a clinically depressed person.
Facts.
Stop accepting you have no control over this. And what you need to do is stop identifying that way, and let's work together to try and fight
But
against
there
it.
isn't an eminent doctor in the world who would tell you there is no such thing as clinical depression.
you'll
Who would
have-
not
Let me tell you this though, chat. So let's say this clinical depression shit is actually a thing, right? Since multiple scientists studied it, I could accept the fact that it's true. It's a real thing. Okay, let's say it's a real thing. Clinical depression actually exists, and a doctor tells you, let's say you're depressed, right? A doctor tells you you're clinically depressed, and you truly believe him. You can never get better. Let's say the scientists are wrong about clinical depression. You've accepted the fact that you're gonna be depressed for the rest of your life. So now there's 0%. There is 0% chance of you getting better. Now let me give you another example, right? Let's say you're depressed, but let's say you're actually clinically depressed, but nobody told you you're clinically depressed. There is a small chance you might get better because you don't truly believe that you're clinically depressed. You believe you can get better. So now, even if the clinically depressed shit is true, there's a small % chance you might get better. That's what I'm telling you. I feel like a doctor telling somebody you're clinically depressed just shuts down all the chances that person might get better. And I don't see the positive side of that at all. There's this one saying that soldiers were in a line, and then that got captured by the enemy, and then they were all standing in a line, and then there was 4 people standing in a line, 4 soldiers, and then 3 of them got poison in a cup. It looks like water, and the 4th person got water in the cup. So the first person drank it and collapsed, died. The second person drank the poison, collapsed, died. The 3rd person drank the poison, collapsed, died. The 4th person, they gave him water. This nigga drank the water and died because he told himself that water was poison. And it's a saying. I don't know if it's actually true, but it's a saying. And that just shows a lot on how much power your brain has.
I believe feeling depressed is real. I do not believe it's a disease that you catch from the sky and you cannot affect. I believe that no matter what happens...
Bro, chat, imagine if he said what I said. That, I really have such great points of, the 0% chance of getting better if you accept that you're clinically depressed. And then, you know what I'm saying? I really made great points. If he said what I said, Andrew Tate, you know what I'm saying? It'd be dumb.
I believe you have control of your own mind and you can fight against it. I believe if you change your circumstances in your life, you may feel different. I'll give you a quick example.
This video? Of course
I had a guy who emailed me saying he was clinically depressed and he was going to kill himself. I obviously am not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor. I told him, because I replied to my emails. I said, have you been to a psychiatrist? He said, yes, I'm clinically depressed. I've been on these pills, this amount of time. I'm on antidepressants, it doesn't work. I said, I don't know what to say to you besides this. And he said he lost his girlfriend, that's why he became clinically depressed. I said, listen, go to the gym, get a 6-pack first. Once you've got a 6-pack, email me again. If you still feel like killing yourself, I don't know what else to say to you. But I'd say, strong body is a strong mind, go train.
Dad, you can't say that's a good advice. That's a good advice to you guys? I mean, it's all subjective, I guess. You have your opinion, I have mine. That's a W advice? Okay. If you were depressed, you didn't feel like getting out the house, I told you, get out the house, go to the gym, get a 6-pack, come to me. And if you still want to kill yourself, I don't know what to tell you.
He went, he started sending me progress pictures, emailing me him getting in better shape, and eventually got a 6-pack. He's now a professional bodybuilder. And he said, I can't believe I was considering that. I feel so much better, etc. The doctor was telling him he was clinically depressed and couldn't cure it. He started taking control of his own life, and now he felt better.
Have you
I'm not saying it's the case for everybody.
No.
I'm just saying.
Here's my question, though. Have you seen the guy's medical records?
Of course not. I just told you the
So
story.
you're just taking his word for it.
Oh, I am taking the word of a man who emailed me with a bunch of medication in specific
So you're
doses.
denying proven science because one guy writes to you who you help and you've not seen any evidence he ever had clinical depression diagnosed.
I'm denying the
No,
idea.
no, chat. Andrew Tate, I agree with so many things he says. I agree that he has a lot of influence, but he doesn't have that much influence. He just told us a guy that's clinically depressed emailed him and he told him, get a 6-pack. If you still want to kill yourself, I don't know what to tell you. And then he went and got a 6-pack and then he became a bodybuilder. He's on some fucking god shit. What is he on, nigga? The fuck?
We're talking about Alex Jones, right? Who I have a bit of history with. He tried to get me deported from the United States.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. What is your view of Alex Jones?
I think that Alex Jones
Who's
is a
Alex
sovereign
Jones?
individual who, very much like the rabid left, deserves a chance to speak on his points of view. I think that the truth on issues is usually somewhere in the middle between two extremes. And I
So you think Sandy
You don't
Hook
wanna know.
was staged?
What the fuck? I wanna know who is
left deserves a sovereign individual.
What is your view of Alex Jones?
Alex Jones. What the fuck? Wait, crazy. You said some crazy shit about Sandy Hurricane. Is that like a hurricane that happened? Yeah, he's wild, bro. I want to know this guy. What the fuck? I feel like I live under a rock. Should I?
A jury in Connecticut has reached a verdict in the second defamation trial for Alex Jones. The conspiracy theorist has been ordered to pay $965 million to families from the Sandy Hook school shooting for the emotional distress they suffered after Jones called the massacre a hoax.
Oh, so he called the hurricane fake, completely fake. And then the fucking law is making him pay each one of the family members? All the family members in.
Jones had claimed on numerous occasions that the Sandy Hook school massacre was a hoax and the parents were crisis actors.
Oh, no, he's actually fucked up, though. This nigga, little kids died and he called it all fake. And then the what's it called? The parents were all actors? Yeah, he wanted. What the fuck? Oh, school shooting, okay.
And I
So you think Sandy Hook was staged?
I don't know anything about Sandy Hook.
Really? You know he's just been sued by the families for millions and millions.
I have no idea.
You don't know anything about it?
No.
So why would you support someone in public when you know nothing about the most infamous
When
thing
have I
attached to
supported
it?
him in public?
You have supported him in public.
I've been on his podcast.
Yeah, but you said nice things about him.
I say nice things about lots of people.
What do you think of Alex Jones?
I said nice things about you, Piers.
That's fine. So you should. I'm a nice person.
So to sit and say that I've been on a podcast and I say nice things about
But
him
you
means
said
I
you support his right to speak about things like Sandy Hook.
I don't know Sandy Hook.
Alex Jones said that Sandy Hook didn't happen. It was staged by actors.
Okay.
This compounded the appalling grief of the families of those poor 20 children who were gunned to pieces by a lunatic with an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. They were already grief-stricken beyond belief, and this guy poured petrol onto that grief quite deliberately to make a huge amount of money from his InfoWars fake news bullshit. And as a result, a lot of the families have now sued him, and they've won, and he's going to have to pay back tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars in damages to these families. And quite right, it won't do anything about the pain he caused them. Some of them actually had people turn up outside their houses with guns because Alex Jones had told them that these parents were making it all up. They were all staged actors. It was all run by the government. So I simply say to you, now I've told you that, what is your view of Alex Jones?
I don't see why any of that has to do with me. It's very interesting. I've done the guy's podcast. I know him well. He was professional and courteous to me. When I meet somebody and they show me respect, I show them back. Respect. That's what I do, as I did with you.
You respect him?
If somebody shows me respect, I show them respect back.
So if Adolf Hitler showed you respect, you'd respect him back.
That's a stupid question, Piers.
It's not. It's a logical extension of your argument.
No, if in 1931 I was walking through Germany and a man come up to me and said, sorry for bumping into you, I'd say, sorry, no problem, mate. I'd show respect back. I don't know, what are you trying to say? That I sanction the Holocaust?
You literally just said if somebody respects you, you respect them back
I say if somebody
automatically.
shows me respect, I show respect back. That's a good way to go through life.
Whoever it is.
If somebody shows me respect...
Yeah. You see, Andrew, like, he's digging himself in a deeper hole. I don't think this nigga can ever come back from a ban because he's just too ignorant to the rest of the world. Like, this nigga just said he respects the same nigga that spoke about a school shooting in an elementary school and called it fake. It was just an act. How can you... That's something you would lose respect for. he doesn't make sense. He's saying, if you respect me, I respect you. But what are the things that make you lose respect for somebody? Things like this. When somebody calls a school shooting fake.
It's
If
lame, and
Vladimir
let's move on.
Putin had a podcast, would you go on it?
Sure.
You would? Great. Okay, then we know what you're talking about.
If Vladimir Putin had a podcast,
fine,
I'd go on
that's
it.
fine.
If Joe Biden had a podcast, I'd go on it. If a feminist has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Piers Morgan has a podcast, I'll go on it. If Alex Jones, I mean, I don't see the point you're making. There's no point here. You're digging, but there's nothing to find.
Well, I'm not. I'm taking your position that if somebody shows you respect them.
I think that
I'm saying there are lots of people in the world I do not respect. If Vladimir Putin showed me respect, I would not respect him.
that's your opinion. But
No, it's my view. What's
okay,
your
that's
view?
your view. Well,
Your view is you would.
You're sitting here.
Wait. So if somebody murdered his mom, I mean, so he would. So let's say you know, there's this one school shooter, right? There's this one school shooter, and he showed you respect. You show him respect back? Makes no sense. You can't say you respect. Like, you're just trying to be different so bad. Yeah, I just don't get it,
But
bro.
before you move on, I do find it kind of disingenuous, and I know we're on a show, and I don't have a personal problem with you, but it is kind of disingenuous to try and sit here and lump me in with some school shooting. That's nothing to do with me. That's nothing to do with me. On any level.
Let me respond.
On any level.
Let me explain. Like you just said, you've been on this podcast 4 times.
In 4 years.
Since he said the whole thing was staged.
I don't know when he said it.
I think the fact that a smart guy like you wants me to believe you had no idea that Alex Jones, who's been in the news now for the last 2 years for being sued by these families for the most heinous thing imaginable of pouring petrol onto their grief by claiming that shooting was staged. The fact that you're pretending you didn't know about any of that.
It's not about pretending I didn't know.
Been on his podcast 4
Piers,
times,
Piers.
supporting him and making him money. So damn right I'm going to call you out on it.
When I do a podcast, if you think I spend time analyzing the point of view of that person and everything they've ever said
You should.
for years beforehand.
It's not years, it was minutes in most cases.
Years and years.
When did you last go on his When did you last go on his
Piers,
podcast?
You trying to lump me in and attack me for a
No. If you searched up his name, that's the first thing that pops up. We just saw it right now. And then the other thing is, one thing I want to mention is when he was on Aiden, when he was on a call with Aiden, he did mention that he does research on people before he works with them. Like, so he knows, like, he has something against them. Like, oh, I know a lot about you, blah, 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 type of thing. He did say that to Aiden, by the way. It's just a podcast. I mean, that's just a video I watched, personally. I'm just telling you.
person whose podcast I do having a view is absolutely childish.
Okay.
Because I've done a bunch of podcasts with
So you
people.
would do a podcast-
I've done a bunch of podcasts with people who are advocating for things that I do not agree with on every single level. In fact, most of my podcasts are me disagreeing with people. So it's completely crazy that you're trying to lump me in with that. That's cheap.
I think
That's cheap.
You are completely misconstruing the point of what I'm saying. I think deliberately.
No, what you're trying is a cheap trick. And I'm just making it clear
It's
to
not
the
a
audience.
cheap trick.
It's a
I'm just
cheap
curious where your moral line is.
It's a cheap trick.
Where's your moral line?
I disagree with the points of view with the majority of the people I do podcasts with. So it's a very cheap trick you're trying here. So
When
I don't know
people
where it's gonna go.
invent vile things to make themselves rich off the back of families of little kids who've been blown to pieces with a machine gun or a semi-automatic version of a machine gun, I think that is actually a line I wouldn't cross. I wouldn't be happy to go on someone's podcast when they've been responsible for doing that. It's not about political views or differences of opinion over facts. It's about somebody deliberately inventing a pack of lies to compound the grief of families. And I'm curious, you don't think you have any need to go down any kind of moral quandary about people like that before you continue to allow them to use you for their own promotion.
He didn't use me. He didn't use me for
Why
his
does he have you on the
promotion.
podcast?
Because we disagreed and discussed points like we're doing with you right now.
Did you call him out on that?
Are you using me? We didn't discuss that.
I'm not using. I'm giving you a platform most people aren't giving you right now to show the world who you really are.
Fantastic. So neither of us are using each other. I'm here on your show. I'm providing you with content. You're giving me a platform. And nobody's using each other. It's mutual. We don't agree on a whole bunch of issues.
That's fine.
And here we are.
I think we've had a robust exchange.
Yeah, just like I've done on nearly every other podcast. And if someone were to come and say to me in the future that something, heaven forbid, there was a skeleton in your closet, and someone were to come to me and say, you were on Piers Morgan's show, did you know he's X or he's done X? I would say that's absolutely nothing to do with me.
Right. But
I'd make the same point protecting you. I don't know what you do. I don't know your personal life.
I can guarantee one thing. I will not be inventing stories about the families of
I
kids
hope you.
shot at
I
school.
hope not. I hope you're a righteous person.
I'm
But
not,
I don't
I'm
know.
not claiming to be a righteous person.
I don't know.
I'm just saying that I just think it's interesting that you have no moral compulsion about going on people.
It's not about moral compulsions. It's about I don't know what you do, Piers. You could have a bunch.
No. I think he played that great. Andrew played that great. I mean, he definitely took that harder route, like he always does. He takes the harder route a lot, and that's why I feel like, you know, big risk, big reward. Obviously, that's why I feel like he's so famous. But I think he played that well to a point. He can say like, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It has nothing to do with me. You want me on your podcast? I can come. We can discuss issues. We'll leave. It might make him seem like, damn, you cold, nigga. Like, you know that nigga did a school shooting. You still got on the thing with him? I mean, that has nothing to do with me. He invited me to his show. We did not talk about the school shooting. I didn't know. This, and I got out. Like, I mean, it's a really, like, he played that well. What can you say to him? You know, like, he's saying I didn't know about it. I just came to the podcast. I don't have to agree with his life or anything. And I just left. I mean, like, it's just he's taking the harder route. And he's just looking like, damn, like, this nigga cold. But he fucked up. Like, that's what I think, obviously, when I see this nigga. Like, when I'm listening to this, I mean, you make sense, nigga. Like, but, like, you fucked up, nigga. Like, you don't care about none of that, nigga? Like, he just caused so many families pain. You don't care?
Let me ask you this. Interesting about the feminism thing.
Sure.
Do you identify as a feminist?
I think that women and men are fantastic. Both of us are fantastic. I think women reproduce. I think women need to be respected, protected, provided for. I think that modern feminism is kind of hard for me to even truly understand.
What do you think it means? What is feminism?
I think that the idea of feminism is that men and women are equal under the law.
And do you believe that?
Completely.
We should be treated completely equal.
Yeah, but we are equal under the law. Wouldn't you agree?
Not really. I think there are still some issues in the world where, I mean, certainly in workplace, the gender pay gap remains. They're not treated equally in most cases, women.
Well, that can be discussed, the gender pay gap. I think that's already been discussed at length. I think that there's actually...
You think women should go to work?
I think women should work completely.
You do?
Why wouldn't they?
Because in the parts of the country, of the world you were mentioning earlier, that have different views of women, they don't go to work.
In the parts of the world that person from the podcast was from, for the point I made.
Video?
Yeah, they didn't. But I don't live in those parts of the world. I think women should be free to work if they choose. I think it's very important that the family unit remains. I do believe that in my personal view, the most important and respectful thing a woman can do is become a mother. I think that having children is a beautiful thing. But obviously, if a woman wants to work and wants to have a career, especially now with paternity leave or maternity leave, and she can manage to do both, why wouldn't I want women to work? I don't know why anyone would ever assume I don't want women to work or think women can't work because I said that I should keep them safe.
Like, if I was Tate, what I would bring is, like, I feel like this really ties into, like, what men are good at and what women are good at. Men are good at providing and protecting. So I feel like they have an advantage in the workforce and in the military force and stuff like that because of their ability to provide and protect, right? And women are good at nurturing and caring, and I feel like they have an advantage in that state. You might be a little confused on what I mean by they have an advantage in that stage. What I mean by that is if there's a family, a husband, a wife, and a kid, if the husband and wife divorce, there is an extreme high % chance that that kid is going to stay with his mother. Even though that dad loves the child equally the same, there's a high chance that kid is gonna go to the mom. That's what I feel like what I'm saying is, like, you know, men are good at things women are not. Women are good at things men are not, right? So if you want to bring up the gender pay gap and stuff like that, that falls under providing. That's something men are naturally, you know what I'm saying? Men are naturally better at providing. And if you want to talk about who gets custody of the child, that falls under nurturing and caring. Do you see the correlation between that, or how the government, like, you know what I'm saying, like, how it makes sense? Like, nothing can be exactly fair. There's, like, if you have two kids, you can't be exactly fair to them. They both came from your balls, and you can't be exactly fair to them. There's nothing. I don't think they're like men and women can be exactly the same, exactly equal. You know what I'm saying? And I'm dead ass telling you, like, I feel like it has a correlation between, like, you know, a woman can provide, a woman can nurture and care. So you go to a court, she has a high chance of getting the kid. A man has a better chance of providing and caring. I feel like he should have a better chance at the workforce. I feel like that really correlates.
It's important that we remember that a man has a duty. I think I certainly in my relationship have a financial responsibility to provide for my woman. My woman would never have to work unless she wanted to, because I'm the kind of person who works hard enough that she wouldn't have to.
Should young men, though, all aspire to be like you?
Should young men aspire to work very hard, have no criminal record, become multimillionaires, protect and provide for the women close to them, be sovereign so they can stand up and have their own points of view in face of cancellation, be able to not be mentally intimidated when they go on national TV and there's traps set up for them? Yeah, I believe that confident, strong men who stand up and protect and provide for women are a good thing for the world and a good force for the world. And I don't think that I put a magic spell on anybody. I think there's a whole bunch of men in the world who understands my value. And if men grow up to be like me, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people with no criminal record, dedicated athletes, who protect and provide for the people close to them, are fantastic for the economy. And I'm certainly not the worst influence out here, Piers. You have Lil Nas twerking on the devil on music videos, which our children are digesting. You have drill artists singing about stabbing people to death in the middle of a knife crime epidemic.
I swear to God, on my mother's life, I was about to say that. How does a person like Andrew Tate get canceled for being for having misogynistic beliefs, but people like NBA YoungBoy don't get canceled for talking about murdering people? No, think about it. I enjoy NBA YoungBoy's music. I don't want him to get canceled. I really love the new album. Nigga, like, go crazy. I'm telling you. But I'm really like, think about it. Andrew Tate is getting canceled for his misogyny beliefs. But somebody like what's it called? NBA YoungBoy is not getting canceled for his murder beliefs.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father.
It's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is the world we live in. The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that. This fact that they just said it's romanticizing the gory element. I don't know what she was watching, some kind of suicide videos thing. I don't know where these things are created.
Do you think the tech companies should be much tougher about stuff like this?
I don't know what kind of things she watched, obviously. I have to be a professional here. I think that the tech companies need to do their best to protect people, I guess, to a degree, but it's a slippery slope, isn't it? And then they use this slippery slope to silence some people and to
right. And I think it's a really fine line, and it's a complicated line.
It is very.
I was interested in when you did an interview with the Times, Hugo Rifkin. He's a very good journalist. We did a big interview with him, and it was interesting to me his conclusion, because he kind of concluded that although he found a lot of the things he said awful and offensive, and he didn't like them, and he didn't want to be that kind of person that would say those kind of things, nor could he actually work out exactly what you'd done, which deserved mass wipeout by all the tech firms. I thought it was an interesting conclusion. I don't know the answer to that, other than the reason I mentioned the Molly Russell case, not because that has anything to do with you at all, and I reiterate that.
Thank you.
I simply ask you this. What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame,
I feel like Piers
have
is
to be more
genuinely
careful
trying to get him
about being
back on this platform.
Construed. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Yeah.
I'd argue that all of it. We just talked about music videos and dancing on the devil and,
Listen,
and all this stuff. All this stuff is dangerous.
By the way, I think you make a very good point on that.
So-
a lot of these rap stars, the lyrics, the videos,
I think Piers is
I think
genuinely trying to
far
get him
exceed
back on
anything
these
that you've been
platforms,
accused
bro.
of doing.
Completely.
Because in a lot of cases, some of them promote non-consensual activity with people, right? And I just think that crosses a line you have, as far as I've seen, you haven't crossed that line.
No, I haven't, and this is the thing, and I've been vilified not because of the things I say, because much more extremist content already exists on the internet. I think the reason I've been attacked and vilified is because of the popularity, because I became so massively famous, not because of what I was actually saying. So as a professional, I analyze that and I understand that, okay, I'm massively famous now and certain things have been taken out of context. However, I still do believe I'm a force for good in the world, and I'm not going to sit here
Have
and
you
say,
changed though?
it's not about changing.
Well, it is. We're all involved in an evolution. How old are you now?
I'm 36.
36, right? I bet you're a different person to what you were when you were 26.
Oh, that's
and
absolutely,
16,
that's
right?
absolutely a
So
fact.
we all change. And Mike, you keep talking about being a good person.
Yeah.
I think if you're honest with yourself,
Yep.
that you can see why people found a lot of the stuff you've said problematic and misogynist. And I think you've recognized you wouldn't
all
express
you gotta
yourself
do,
in that
just
way
gotta
again
admit it.
because you've understood that it's caused a lot of harm. And that's really what I want.
Look, I swear to God, Piers is trying to get an apology from him. The video's almost over. 40 seconds left. But like, Piers is genuinely trying to get him on these platforms, I feel like, bro. This shit is crazy.
Problematic and misogynist. And I think you've recognized you wouldn't express yourself in that way again because you've understood that it's caused a lot of harm. And that's really what I wanted to get to today, was an acknowledgement by you that these things clearly were said in the wrong way, created the wrong impression if you didn't mean them the way you intended them, and can therefore have a malevolent influence when you have a huge following.
Yeah, when you have a huge following, you certainly have to be a lot more careful about how you get certain points across. That's absolutely a fact.
Andrew, I appreciate you coming all the way from Romania.
Thank you.
It's been an interesting conversation, and I thank you for having it.
Cheers, Frank.
Well, that's it from me. Whatever you're up to, keep it uncensored. Good night.
That's crazy, bruh.